I was going to conclude on this issue. Yemsebenzi, what types of employment do we see today? Besitshoziwe speakers, sex workers, outsourced workers, workers working for labor brokers. Abanazo too security as much as the laws are there, the labor relations are there, but the employers will continue to lose, especially those that have a relationship with the employers. They will continuously use loopholes in the laws, and they employ abantu in these precarious kinds of work. And they tend to be much highly concentrated in these types of imisebenzi. I think today that's why we have Sweat, who's advocating for the rights of sex workers, because balekwa kanga police alinganiki a client that is a man, a client aleke intombazana usisi, so their rights are really violated. What has happened to our movements? How have our movements also been indlela enatsika ngayo omama ba affected ngayo? Have we seen also in our movements ukuthi our movements are responding with their campaign strategies to integrate gender in their programs, to be women friendly movements? Trade union organizations, which have always been a base for organizing workers, including women, into the labor movement, are extremely weak today. And this is as a result of how, on the other hand, how people are employed, how workers are working. Because each trade union is used to this kind of one set of employment pattern, that permanent work, and we will get or appear in this particular workplace from this time up to this time. But with the changes of things and how people are employed as a result of these policies, you now have seasonal workers. You're not going to find working from 6 a.m. up to or all the entire week. They are not there. How have they responded to the issues of women? I've seen your hand, I want to finish. How have they responded to the issues of women in the workplace? As said earlier on, some of the gains have reversed. There were campaigns that saying we campaign for a 40-hour week, we campaign for paid maternity leave, we campaign for paid maternity leave, we campaign for parental rights, that these women are able to go and look after their children, that these women are able to have a decent period that is paid when they get pregnant and they have to go on maternity leave. So the laws that were introduced, we didn't, in the movements, robustly challenge them. We regressed. Today, women go on unpaid, it is legislated, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, unpaid maternity leave. Or you can go and claim, you stand in the queues again of the Department of Labor to go and claim percentage that can make, you able to carry on the period usekai. So we have continued paying a lip service to women's issues and gender equality inside the organizations and outside. Outside, that would be the world of employment, and inside the organizations. We have seen and recently been watching televisions, listening to radio, sexual harassment in the movements. Sexual harassments in the movements. It's your political movements, it's your labor movements, it's your social movements. Women are continuously put under pressure as a result of wanting to please those who are in leadership position, in the men who are always men. And women are subjected to these conditions. The case about Comrade Vavi is one point to look at. The case about our President Jacob Zuma, who used his position, it's a case to point at. They are using their position, they are in leadership positions, and many other cases of this kind of violence against women in those movements, and also social movements. As much as in social movements, they don't really make up to our screens or in media, but these are the challenges that women are confronted with. And these things, reason why I'm saying they've been paying lip service to, they will go to congresses and adopt resolutions that are saying, how do we integrate gender in how do we make a space safe for women in our movements? How, they will talk about issues of quotas, representation and whatever. But give you an example, in the labor movement, Nehau is one of the trade unions that in majority are women. But who is in that leadership? Just those. Besides, I've just spoken about, a pandemic, which I think sexual harassment in the labor is a pandemic. In leadership positions, you go to trade unions, the only positions that you'll find women are sitting behind a desk as the receptionists, administrators, or treasurer, or a position that is not so heavily influential or regarded as the most important position. Those are the conditions that women are over and above issues that trade unions have failed to champion or challenge women's interests. The fact that women are employed in vulnerable, that has not been a fight. Women in these outsourced, at UCT, the University of Cape Town, when Rampela was the vice chancellor there, she's also the champion of this policy that I'm critiquing. She championed it, this policy. Nanzo example came to. She did that, embracing the neoliberal blueprint in Gukia by letting lowest paid workers getting to be outsourced and finally retrenched. And these services, in the main, again, Emma Kitchen, I say UCT used to be, those women used to get the benefits. I say UCT as the subsidies for abandoned families to come and study at UCT from this working class, black, to me saying colored, Indian and whatever. Those were benefits that Rampela removed as a result of saying that the university must be run as a business, forgetting that Ababantu, the so-called, they coming with the past apartheid. These workers were outsourced. These workers with many long service were retrenched. How did the trade union respond? Very weak. And really retrenchments were upheld by the labor court. Outsourcing today, those workers are still working under horrible conditions at UCT today. That's the legacy of Rampela Mampela, embracing neoliberalism. What happens at home? Many mamas are at home who were working in the catering, hostel, in the cleaning sector, gardening, all those services were outsourced. Apho kanye abantu bebesebenza be-unskilled. Ibeyazi ilegacy yethu Rampela. Unions, clear example, azange zi-engage robustly. Instead, student movement were supporting and are still supporting even these women who are still concentrated, working under supercare, under those horrible conditions, AUCT. So, into yenzekayo kuloo nto leyo ke yofumanisa uba oomama ba in these precarious or very risky employment conditions in the labor movement, basebenza bospa, or their members, they work, or their members, is that what they take home, it's something that is not going to be able to hold that home. Uba li engage productively in the economy.